Hey guys, Ryden here, and today we are doing something very different. Today we are making a dish from Tales of Berseria. So those of you who watch the series might already know what this is. It's Laphicet's favorite food, Mabo curry. Now before you start watching this isn't a tutorial video by any means. I have already pre-mixed most of the ingredients to the point where I don't even remember what I put with what. So I'm just going to tell you guys the ingredients that I use, and I'm gonna vaguely narrate over what is happening. Okay, so let's go over the ingredients. The good part about this dish is the ingredients are pretty easy to find if you're okay with substitutes, and the dish is not too hard to make. So the first thing you need is the powers of a shepherd. Okay, so the powers of a shepherd may be a little difficult to get, but with some elbow grace and some hard work, I'm sure you'll get them somehow. 1 teaspoon of cornstarch, 1 tablespoon of cold water, 1/2 pound of ground pork. You can leave this out if you're vegetarian. I left this out not because I'm vegetarian, but it's just easier to make the dish without it. 1 tablespoon of vegetable oil, 1 tablespoon minced garlic, 1 tablespoon minced ginger, 1 16-ounce package firm tofu cut into 1-inch pieces. We do use this. 5 tablespoons of soy sauce, 2 tablespoons of hot bean sauce. Okay, so the hot bean sauce is probably the hardest thing on this list to acquire, even harder than the powers of the shepherd. Hot bean sauce probably won't be sold at your local grocery store. It's also quite expensive because it is an import item. So my recommendation and what I did here is I actually use Hoisin Sauce, which does taste very similar and has a lot of the same ingredients as hot bean sauce, but it's easier to acquire. Now, Hoisin Sauce by itself is not inherently very spicy, at least to me, so if you want, you can also add red pepper flakes, sriracha, Tabasco, whatever floats your boat as far as spices go. I found the most success with sriracha. You'll also need 1 teaspoon of white sugar, 3 green onions, chopped of course, and 1 teaspoon of sesame oil. Now, I will be providing all the ingredients in a link below, and you guys can go ahead and try to follow along with that if you need to. Okay, so for the first thing we're gonna have to do is you're gonna have to put the vegetable oil in the pan. Done. We're like halfway there now. Next, you're gonna have to turn the pan up to medium-high heat. And while that's heating up, why don't we start cutting our tofu? The tofu cutting is the only thing I didn't do off camera, as were all the other ingredients I pre-mixed early, so there'd be no hassle. The tofu I did not cut. So it tells you to cut them into about 1-inch chunks. I roughly did that. It doesn't matter to me how big they are. I do prefer them diced even more finely than I do in the video though, so that's probably just how I like my tofu. I'm not a huge fan of tofu as is, but I like it enough to eat it in this dish. I actually probably would have preferred pork. Tofu's easier once again. Okay, so once it has gotten up to the medium-high heat you set it at, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to add 1 tablespoon of minced garlic and your other tablespoon of minced ginger into the pot. You're going to leave these cook until the smell of revenge permeates throughout your house. Next, once you're done using Rokuro's Mystic Art on your tofu, add the tofu to the dish. Make sure to stir it around nicely, so that way they all get affected by the nice smell. If that makes any sense to you. Spread it around there really nice. Get all that tofu flavored and colored, because those of you who don't use tofu often, tofu is just kind of a food that takes in the flavor of everything around it. So tofu by itself won't taste like anything, but if you cook it in a lot of sauces, the tofu can taste like anything. I personally am not a huge fan just because of the texture. I can't taste all that well. So that's why I'm addicted to things like sweets and spicy food, because those give me the most taste total. But as you can see, it's starting to look pretty yummy. So after you've added everything to the dish, you're supposed to start adding the green onions. Next, I add what I'm pretty sure is the cornstarch and water mixture I made earlier. Add it to the dish, stir it around. And lastly, I have to add the sesame oil because I did not mix that into any of the other things, just to keep its own flavor. And now we just let it cook. So it doesn't actually say it on the recipe when it probably should. But this is a dish you are actually supposed to eat with white rice, so if you're able to make white rice like I did in a rice cooker, that's good. That's the preferred way to add to the dish. Otherwise, you're kind of just eating plain tofu, and I'm gonna be honest, that's not that great. So now our meal is finally done. How about we take a test? I guess one bite wasn't enough. And the answer is... it was okay. The dish definitely needed the sriracha sauce or whatever kind of hot bean paste you're able to use to make it work. The Laphicet, you have good taste. There are some people who don't like spicy food. I don't think this dish tastes that great if it's not spicy, in my opinion. Once again, though, I can't taste very well, so... what a weird video I just made. So, for those of you interested in this channel outside of this weird video I just did, this is actually a Let's Play channel, and we have done a series of Tales of Berseria. I'll put a link to that on screen right now, and if you want to become a member of the Dust Brigade, just click subscribe. Thank you, and have a wonderful day, guys. Right now.